Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show, where occasionally we talk about music. And as always, our show is sponsored by DJ Event Planner. Check them out as well as our other sponsors in the description of this video on YouTube, because there'll be links down there. We have Howie, the producer, tonight. We have Eric joining us. Hello. And we have Jay, of course.
Yep.
And we are missing John tonight, our roundup guy. But we're still going to do...
No Road Dog tonight, huh? Whoops.
No.
Wait, Road Dog, yes. Yeah.
Okay, do this. We're still going to do a record roundup, do a real quick round on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Howie, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I was going down memory lane, cleaning out my computer, and I found a folder.
Get rid of it before. Never mind.
I can always count on Jay to interrupt me when I'm ready to put the punchline in. I found a folder that has all the songs that we played when I played with a cover band. And the one that I picked for this evening is Rocky Mountain Way, and that's by Joe Walsh and Barnstorm. And the album is The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get, and it's from 1973. But that was always such a huge dance hit because, you know me, gadget guy, I was one of the first to have wireless transmitters and microphones. So we would put the transmitter on the guitar, and he would jump off the stage and go in the middle of the dance floor, and the girls went wild for it. And it was just a lot of fun. So, and that song there had enough solos in it that he could really shred while he was out there on the dance floor and kind of extend the song, so to speak. So that's my pick.
There was a story about that song that I heard recently from Joe Walsh. It's talking about what inspired him to write it. I guess that he was out where everybody else was, Laurel Canyon, this thing. And then it got a little crazy, and him and his family out to Colorado. He was mowing his lawn, and he kind of looked up the mountains, and he's like, "This is better than the way we had it. This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
So he based it off of that.
Yep. That's true. I did a little research on it. I didn't want to make my thing too long, but you're right. Yep.
Anyone else have a record or something?
I got a band I don't think we've ever mentioned before that I think is a huge 80s band, but when I listen to it today, it doesn't sound dated the way I thought it would, and that is Simple Minds.
Oh, that's nice.
But I'm not going for the track and the hit that everyone thinks I'm going for. I'm going for the follow-up album. Their big hit was from Breakfast Club with Don't You Forget About Me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And their follow-up album was called Once Upon a Time, which has Alive and Kicking, Wish You Were Here, Jungle Land. My favorite track on it all day is Ghost Dancing.
Is Sanctify Yourself on that one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. I like that one.
Come a Long Way is on it, Once Upon a Time. I mean, this is the thing about that I think a lot of new DJs and music aficionados don't realize. This album has 8 songs. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's their follow-up project, had 8 songs. It even for the 80s, that seemed light.
Very
light.
light.
The 80 to 84, it was okay to put out 7 or 8 songs. But then Metallica and Def Leppard rolled in with this hour-long CD, hour-long cassette with 15 songs, and everyone went, wait, what's this? I mean, Ramones to do an hour-long album would take
60 songs on it.
Yeah.
Literally, you'd have to have in excess of 20 songs.
Yeah, they only have one song over 3 minutes, and it's almost 3.5 minutes. The other ones are 2 minutes and something seconds.
Yeah,
less than
absolutely.
2.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to, if you're looking for something that's not mainstream 80s, but you've got an 80s event, you're gonna awaken a lot of memories with Simple Minds' Once Upon a Time.
It's if memory serves. The Don't You Forget About Me song, they didn't write it. and they didn't dig it.
No,
But they were commissioned to do it, and they hated the song. But
and
that was
when
their
it got
breakout
big. Well, that happens all the time. I mean, you know, not We're All Crazy Now. What was the first Slade that Quiet Riot did? Come on, Feel the Noise.
Come on, Feel the Noise.
Hated it. And even Frankie Banali, the drummer, was like, said to the lead singer, "Don't worry, I'll mess up the intro. They'll hate it." And he did this like boom, do-dum, boom, do-dum. And Kevin starts singing, and Frankie Banali famously tells a story where he's in the studio playing, and he goes, "Kevin Dubrow is shooting daggers at me, like going like this," because he hated the song so much and didn't want to do it. And then it became the song they were best known for, probably.
Right.
And
then they went out to do Mama, We're All Crazy Now.
Well, and they ended up doing another Slade track. So they were like,
Mama, We're All Crazy Now. Wasn't that the other one?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying formula works once. Let's try it twice. But Simple Minds, absolutely. They were kind of very U2 political. And the funny thing very quickly is Daniel Lanois was their producer engineer at the peak of their success, along with U2. Daniel Lanois came into U2 for Joshua Tree. So, you know, he's a very famous producer/engineer that worked with Jimmy Iovine in the 80s and did from Bob Dylan to U2 to Simple Minds to, you know, a million different acts. And it's funny that they would have the same sort of staffing and both be very political. But U2 was known for political activism much more than Simple Minds.
Yeah.
Simple Minds' biggest claim to fame outside of it was that Jim Kerr, the lead singer, has a child with Chrissy Hynde. That's like the biggest thing the band did outside of music was the lead singer and Chrissy Hynde have a kid. What are you going to do? Yeah.
What are you going to do? Eric, what do you got for us?
I have a single. I'm not going with an album tonight. And this guy's had many hits, but this in particular single I've always admired, and it was released August 1963.
Ooh.
3 weeks on the chart, it reached number 2 on the Billboard. I'm talking about Alan Sherman's "Hello, Mother." Hello.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought for sure that would have hit number 1, but it didn't.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
A letter from camp. Come on. It was a great story in it, you know. And
I bought that 45 the same day that I bought the Carlin's 7 Words You Can't Say on TV.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Because my mom, she drove us there, but she was off doing something else. And I quick checked it out and kept it in the bag. And I would listen to it in my room. And where'd you get that? Oh my gosh. And she was very churchy.
No, I brought up that single because I know nobody else would have picked that.
I associate that song with the commercial jingle for Downy, where they used that whole thing for a Downy, you know, commercial.
Yeah.
That is a Dr.
Dirty
Demento.
Pillowcases and all that.
Yeah,
there's a Dr. Demento. Yeah, but, you know,
that's where I found all that crazy stuff. Was the midnight on a Sunday night FM, some random station would have the Dr. Demento. We got this brand new talent.
Don't judge me, but sometimes I'll throw this in a cocktail hour.
No, I could see that working,
and they get a kick out of it. You know, listen. You know, so. Anyway, that's my pick for the week.
All right. I did Statesboro Blues one night at a wedding during cocktail. I had like 8 people come up because it was just that crowd. Right. They looked older. They looked like they were into it. I'm like, let me take a chance. Put on Statesboro Blues live at Fillmore East. Literally 8 people. Dude, I can't believe you're playing this. This is one of the best songs. Do you even know who this is? The Allman Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And they literally looked at me like, where'd you come up with this? I'm like, it's a great song. Yeah, but like we haven't heard this in forever. And I'm like, I know that's the job of the DJ is sometimes to bring music back.
Absolutely.
Not just play the new stuff. Sometimes it's to remind you there's a lot of great stuff you forgot about.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to share a weird one with you this week. I shared it with Jay the other night, and Jay dug it. This is an interesting one because it's a song that I really didn't care for in a genre I didn't really care for being redone in a different genre that I don't like. as well, but I like it. And
it's got to be a country song.
I downloaded it. I downloaded it without anybody telling me to because I liked it so much. I don't like the original version, but I like this version. And I'm going to just do a screen share so you can see what this is. And maybe I'm late to the game here. And I might be because sometimes I totally am. It's a Dolly Parton redoing. Who the hell is it? Is it, I want to say Collective Soul?
Yeah,
Shine. Collective Soul.
Yes. Yeah, Collective Soul.
Shine is Collective Soul.
The backing band behind Dolly is Nickel Creek. And they came on my radar this summer because they came to Milwaukee. In fact,
they're amazing, by the way. The girl and the guitarist and the violinist are brother and sister. And then the mandolin player is revered as one of the greatest ever. They're from a place called Julian outside of San Diego in the mountains. And their biggest hit, if you know it, and if you don't, if you ever get a barn wedding or a country wedding, trust me when I tell you this, play this song. It's a song called Speak by Nickel Creek. Came out in 2003. It's their biggest poppy hit, but it's a beautiful mandolin-driven guitar violin song. And it's very, if you're in the woods and you have to play music, it's a very bluegrass vibe because Nickel Creek's a bluegrass band.
Well, the way they came on my radar was they played in Milwaukee, and Glenn from Promo Only is posting these pictures because he's from like Florida. Right. He's posting these pictures on social media. Beautiful night in Milwaukee. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Because I'm going to see Nickel Creek. I'm like, who the hell's that? So
yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, and then he came down to see me, but that's how they came on my radar. Bluegrass band, like Jay said.
Yeah,
but this is really good, guys.
Really good.
Like, it's really good. I didn't like the original, and obviously I'm not a country person, but I really like what she did with this song. It's really nice, and I heard it. I think it was Friday morning. I was watching the oh boy, what the hell's it called? The Righteous Gemstones on HBO. Like, I'm checking out series just when I'm bored. And I was up early one morning and I'm watching the series finale, and they do like this family montage scene at the end, the final episode, and they do it over this song. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even realize it was Dolly Parton, but I started Googling stuff and I came up with this and I grabbed it right away. So that's my pick. I think it's going to be a nice song to have in your arsenal for your wedding, DJ. You could throw it on for a dinner cocktail. Somebody might even want to walk down the aisle to it. I mean, it's really nice. So have a listen to that song.
You didn't gonna ask if you shared the audio, if you can do a little snippet of it.
Well, because copyright will get
they'll flag here on the recorded portion of the show. But if you're curious, after the show,
you can check it after the show.
Yeah.
And the other one we'll check after the show that's in the same vein that Brian hasn't heard, I don't think.
Probably not.
I have it and I've played it, and I've played it at weddings. And every time I've played it, it's another 20 people. Oh my God, who is this? And that's Dolly Parton doing the entire version of Stairway to Heaven.
I have heard it.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard it.
It's a very good, it's a pretty version. She takes it from a rocker and turns it into like a soft country melodic thing, but she's very true to the original, it seems.
Well, I wouldn't even call it country when she does these. It's not even country. It's just.
But I think your brain goes to Dolly Parton's country. Like when she got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she was the first one to say, "What the hell am I doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm not rock and roll, guys.
I mean, she kind of is. I mean,
more than Jay-Z is, but let's not go down that road.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, as far as pop songs, like non-country or country mainstream pop songs, I can think of two off the top of my head.
Islands in the Stream.
Started. Well, okay, three now, but that's more of a Bee Gees song to me. I'm thinking about stuff that she wrote and performed that would put her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the first one,
I Will Always Love You.
No, that didn't cross over to my knowledge. What crossed over, the first one I can remember, and boy, this was like 78 or something like that, was Here You Come Again.
Yeah.
It was
about 9 to 5. Right?
And then 9 to 5. Right.
Yeah. 9 to 5.
Both good songs.
Yeah.
And people know Jolene because they've heard.
Oh, they know Jolene.
I don't know that it's crossed over, though.
And the Coat of Many Colors.
Yeah, Coat of Many Colors. Yeah.
That crossed over.
I think
100%.
Miley Cyrus helped her a lot with Jolene when she redid it.
You know, that's her
younger
goddaughter,
crowd.
right?
That's her goddaughter, yeah.
Right.
That's her
The younger
goddaughter.
crowd, but the younger crowd today got to know that song
Yeah.
because of Miley.
Oh, she did a great version
Everybody
of it.
loves it. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Great version of it.
And if you want it, I'll send it to all of you because the guy that made it told me I could. I have a remix of Jolene that DJ Second Nature did. I'm not exaggerating, about 20 years ago. And when he stopped doing all those remixes, he just flooded the market with them and said, here, give them to whoever you want who's a DJ.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't even think it's available online anywhere, but I have it. And you'd be shocked. It's a dance version, but it's the original.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I'll send it over. Sorry to hijack that, Brian, but yeah.
No, but that's great.
I wouldn't have had you on the show if I didn't expect that to happen.
Well, I saw her
at
in
least 4 or 5 times.
1979. I talked with someone the other day from Indiana, and she was talking about the state. And I said, I was at the Indiana State Fair in 1979, and my dad, from 1979 till close to the day he died, if you said to him, what's the best pork chop you ever had, Fred? Oh, I had a center cut pork chop at the Indiana State Fair. I had it 3 times in 4 days.
From Pork Chop
They had
Charlie's,
the best pork chop. It was this booth
This
at the
big,
fair.
thick smoked pork chop. Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably good
Yes.
there. Yeah,
Yes.
Pork
But
Chop Charlie's. Yeah.
We also got to see, I remember seeing her, and I'm about 90% sure that the opener was Randy Travis.
Mm.
But the headliner was Dolly Parton, and she played every instrument on stage.
Oh, wow.
Well, and performed and danced and walked around and told the story about the coat of many colors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking amazing.
I can guarantee you it was Randy Travis.
Yeah.
They did a duet together
Performer. Yeah.
right around that time. And if, do I ever cross?
But to this day, I still think it's one of the best concerts I've ever been to on sheer performance value.
Yeah.
As an entertainer, when Brian mentions artistry and entertainment, that's what comes to mind for me. A woman that held a stage for 2 hours, probably 10, 15,000 people, and you could hear pins drop when she spoke, and the place erupted when she sang.
Yeah. Which is hot.
Oh,
He was hot. And is. I mean, she's still relevant.
and you know what? She's the real deal. She writes it.
Mhm.
She isn't another one of these posers that's like, I can just sing. No, she puts in the time. She makes the product. She delivers the product. She's got Dollywood. She does all this other stuff. Plus, in her entire career, has anyone ever heard one disparaging word?
No.
Not one affair.
Maybe one.
Bus.
Maybe one.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
one.
I mean, not that makes it to the surface of the lexicon that is her reputation. It's not like, remember that time she killed those 3 kids with an axe and got high on heroin?
Right.
That's not there. She's
kind of
to like. She's been married for like 58 years to the
I know.
same guy.
I've had an issue. Well, I had an issue with Dolly that always kind of stuck in the back of my mind, and it's.
By the way, I'm betting on her in a fight over you. I'm just saying.
I would take.
She looks like she can swing.
I would bet the same way. Anybody could kick my butt, but I don't know if this is right or not, but I remember a long time hearing about how Sheena Easton was commissioned to write a song for 9 to 5. So she did. And it was Morning Train. And then Dolly was like, no, if I'm starring it, I'm writing the song. And so she wrote this song and it got the attention. So I don't know if that's true or not. But
Even if it is, like if you're starring a movie, shouldn't you get the first shot?
I don't even know if Dolly had been cast at the time. It doesn't. But Sheena had been commissioned to do it, so she does it. It makes a nice song for the movie.
It's a good song,
and it doesn't. And it didn't even make the soundtrack. To my knowledge, it was just
but
like
it still was a good hit.
It still got legs, but it would have been nice if it would have been like even the ending credits of the damn movie or something.
I still do the Sheena Morning Train for background music as people are coming in. I have a background crate that I'll do. And that's in there. I mean, it's a great song. I always like that one.
That's its own show one night to explain to me, because I must have missed the middle ground, because it seemed like she went from that to James Bond to Sugar Walls. And I never understood the trajectory of her career, how it went.
Oh, I can explain this in one word for you.
Oh, Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Because, she was on Vice for like 7 episodes of Miami Vice playing a famous singer who married Don Johnson and then got killed.
I didn't watch. I'd have to ask my mom. She's the one who watched Miami Vice.
I watched it religiously. But it was like she came out all like very pretty cute girl with Morning Train, got on Mike Douglas, and then it was like suddenly she's doing a James Bond.
Well, it was
great. It's Sheena Easton. All of a sudden now it's Sugar Walls, and they're like, you know what that means, right? I'm like, wait, what happened? She's that cute little girl from like Scotland. This can't be true.
Prince happened. Yeah.
Once again, Prince is that drop in the water bucket that just ruins everything.
He was real sexy in that video of Sugar Walls too.
Well, that's one word, Prince.
And she did. You got the look with him. That was her.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Forgot about that track. Yeah. Her career did go sideways quickly.
Well, Strut was on the same Private Heaven with Sugar Walls, and it wasn't Sugar Walls the one that Prince wrote, and I don't think he even produced any of that.
Yeah,
somebody else produced that album, but that was his track.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound like a Prince song when you listen to the production of it, but when you listen to the words, it's like, it's Prince.
Yeah.
There was no Susanna Hoffs and Sheena Easton thing with him, was there? That wasn't him splitting time, going, ooh, I've got 2 hot girls that I can maybe work into becoming.
So, well, my understanding of this is that Prince had what word am I looking for?
That folder on Howie's computer?
He had a stable.
Oh.
And everyone was aware of it. So there would be a party and they would all be there. And we're talking about
Apollonia, Vanity.
Yeah, Cat. Well, not Vanity wasn't around when Apollonia was around. That was there. And I don't think Apollonia was ever really so much a part of that, but I know like Cat was, and I know that Sheila E. was, and I know that Jill Jones was, and there were several of them, like a bunch of them.
Okay.
And they all just kind of knew that
about the other ones.
Yeah. And he would just take whoever he wanted that night, and that was just the deal. And they'd have to live with it because he was not what you would call monogamous back then. Now, I don't know how public that was, but now they're talking about it. They're all talking about it, like together. Like how they were kind of, because like, I don't know, from what
So he was the BSR of his day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we all know Apollonia made him a lot more money than Sheena Easton ever did. Right?
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, Apollonia was just an actress.
Name a song.
Sex shooter.
I'm just saying. I mean,
I know, but I thought I'm looking at just the movie. Outside of the movie, it was like,
well, she was an actress. That's what she was.
Yeah.
And she did the Apollonia 6 album, and there might have been one after it.
Then she got all religious, I think.
No, you're confusing Apollonia with Vanity.
There was remember the show MTV Cribs? Mm. They did one with Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
And she goes, check it out. You got to meet my neighbor. And she walked out of her place and literally went to the next house, knocked on the door, and I think it was Apollonia.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
So Apollonia didn't pull.
No,
so
Apollonia never went Jesus.
She went religious. Well,
no, that was Denise, whatever her last name was, who was Vanity.
Okay.
She did. Vanity, and she died. She died a few months before Prince died, and they said he was just devastated about that. Like that was apparently a lot of people who knew them both.
Oh, were they?
Said that they were 2 of a kind. Like they really were probably the people who should have been together. And then it went pear-shaped and he went off into other things, but she was the one and he knew it, and it just devastated him. And they said he might have just kind of let himself go after that because that really was messing with him. He really went downhill after that and died shortly after. I'm
guessing she got into drugs at some point. And the only qualification I have for that statement is that she went out with Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue for like a year or 2. And I don't mean that he got her on drugs, but how
she was hanging with that crowd
Prince scene to the Motley Crue scene.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just know what I've heard. I mean, and what I've heard from interviews from the different girls, like recently, I've checked them out. They're very interesting. To me, they're interesting because I could see them being very interesting. And they're talking about some of these relationships and stuff. But yeah, they all have said Vanity was the one. And and she was supposed to be in Purple Rain with him, but they had a falling out, so they brought in Apollonia. And Apollonia was talking about like the sex scenes in Purple Rain. And she said we were both shaking. We were so nervous because we weren't comfortable with, neither one of us were comfortable with this, especially in front of people.
Right.
And we didn't, we're going to make it look good, but we were both very nervous. And he was very respectful. I don't know. Can I do this? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So I don't think Apollonia was all part of that whole stable. But
I don't have a doubt he had a stable. But I also, as much as he played the sex card, he always came off respectful. There was just something in his eyes that said he wasn't a scumbag about it. Like, he didn't seem like the type that you're going to read after his death, like, oh, he used to tie people up and abuse them. Like, he never had that vibe. Like, you know, people give off an air.
Yeah.
He just didn't give that off. He gave almost that he was super respectful. And I think that's where that appeal comes from.
He almost had that shy thing about him.
Well, he was, I guess, painfully shy. I mean, his persona would be what you see on stage, but off stage, he was a different dude. No,
am I the only one alone that the two statements of music that have never made sense to me was, I'm really an introvert. I'm really very shy. Dude, you're on stage in front of 100,000 people. Or, you know what? I don't want all this fame and fortune and success. I just want to make music. Well, then don't tour.
I think I could understand that. I mean, when I was younger.
What is it, for the art's sake? And the less people that know your art?
When I was younger, I think I was afraid to be in front of people. So I adopted it like a persona that was almost like a facade where I could get in front of people. But the thing with me is, and I hope I can say this without anybody laughing, I feel like I've stayed grounded. So as time has gone on, I've learned that the person who was the persona and me are one of the same.
Right.
And I combined those two together to be who I am. So I think when you're like a rock god, your life is a little different, and you might think a little different about things, and people are kind of catering to you, and anything you say, they're nodding their heads.
It seems like you could still be yourself, and it would start with, and Howie's going to totally get this, it would start with living in plain sight. So I guarantee the first place you go is New York, because guess what? No one in New York cares that you're Keith Richards. No one cares that you're Prince. No one cares that you're whoever. If you're in LA and Hollywood going to the biggest restaurant, you're setting yourself up for it. It just always kind of bothered me when bands would be like, you know, The Cure, The Smiths, like, oh, we don't really want all this fame. We don't want to play big venues. Okay, well then do multiple nights at small venues. There's your solution. Instead of a 10,000 seat venue, like 10 nights at a 1,000-seat venue. Like,
I know you've experienced this a little bit, Jay, and I've experienced it too a little bit. But I know there's things I never understood about, you know, some of these rock stars and how they feel about, you know, the fame part of it or whatever. I remember thinking, you know, Michael Jackson, for instance, and how crappy it was. I mean, just as not knowing any better, not having any empathy for it, thinking how crappy it was that he avoided fans and would cover his face and have these bodyguards all around him and stuff. And
that almost creates the spectacle that is.
Well, then I you know, when the YouTube thing popped and I went to the first Mobile Beat, or the second Mobile Beat probably. Oh yeah. Just pawing at me. And I had to keep stopping and talking to them. And, you know, I was on my way to the bathroom and had to stop 7 times to take a piss. I'm like, well, this sucks. And I went home thinking, I get it. I think I get it. That's the part they don't like. You know, they want to be able to still go to Walmart and chill out. No, I can do that. I can totally do that.
Yeah, but you know, when you can live your life and no one notices you, if you went around and asked the majority of people in this world that are completely invisible on their day-to-day lives, would you mind it if people actually once in a while came up? And I mean, I'm by no means famous on any level, but when we do a DJ show, I probably get 10 to 20 people that will come up and say, hey man, I love your stuff. Right. Can I get a photo for Instagram? And every time it happens, I get the biggest boost. And I always, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Like, if you didn't watch it, no one would. Like, wow, man, thank you. Let me follow you. Like, I'm conscious of what a rush. Because let me tell you, when someone comes up to you and says, "Can I get a photo with you?" And the first time it happened, Pulse kind of giggled a little and then looked at me like, "This guy's serious. This isn't a joke. You didn't put him up to this." And it was
it's not a bad thing.
Like, dude, rock star. I'm like, dude, this feels so good. Like,
I remember one time
you did meant something to someone. That's how
it was shortly after my stroke, and we went to that Moreno Valley show together.
Yeah, the YouTube live.
Yeah, and I brought Stevie.
You brought Stevie. Yeah,
yeah,
stayed at my house,
and it was towards the end of the show, and I'm getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And that was a small meet. That was 125 people, maybe
150, 175.
Well, okay, whatever it was. It wasn't huge. It wasn't a big thing, though.
No, it wasn't a big trade show.
I was getting pulled in a lot. I'm trying to watch my kid, and I'm trying to,
I remember that.
shake babies and kiss hands, and I lost my camera. I'm like, oh no, I lost my camera. So I'm running around trying to find my camera. And this guy is like, "Hey, Brian." I'm like, "Oh, dude, give me just 2 seconds. I got to find my camera. I've lost my camera." So I ran back. I got my camera and I came back and the guy wasn't there anymore. That guy just gutted me on social media. I'm such an a-hole because I wouldn't take a second to stop and talk to him. I'm like, dude, I came right back. I was looking for my camera. People can be cruel, you know?
You know what? I feel part of the blame. Now, you don't know this. I feel part of the blame. He came over to me afterwards and said, "Hey, man, Jay, was that a photo?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He goes, "I just saw Brian. He took off." I'm like, "Brian's a dick. Like, Brian's not going to give you." Like, I'm not surprised. Like, he's at my house and he made me make him breakfast. Like, that's just Brian,
right?
This is the sad imbalance of the world,
right?
Hence, where I think a lot of fame gets really divisive because you tell somebody, "Hey, man, I got to go to the bathroom. Give me a second." And the next thing you know is they're on your front lawn with a machete and an AK.
Right. You wouldn't talk to me.
What just happened?
So imagine that times a billion. And that's what some of these rock stars are going through all the time.
And I'm sure it's not exciting, but I'll tell you, if you walk down the street and people came up and said, "I love you and thank you, and you changed my life and you made my life better," how can you not walk away from that just feeling an immense amount of pride?
No, and
what you do for a living.
Right. And it's
nobody's
hard
thanking my garbage man that the garbage gets picked up every week. I've never run up to the truck and be like, "Dude, do you know how awesome it is that this crap isn't sitting in my driveway week after week smelling? Thank you."
All I'm trying to say is that I get it. I have empathy.
No, I know, but I'm saying,
totally understand.
If you stop and look at it sometimes.
Yeah, but then there's also you're trying to do something else at the time. You're trying to spend time with your kids or your wife.
I totally get that.
And then they're like, "Hey, what? I'm just trying to chill with the kid right now. Thank you, but I'm doing this thing." Then you're a jerk.
But I think that's part of the you know what? If you're getting in a Ferrari,
it's a trade-off.
Mansion, that's the trade-off. And the trade-off is when you go out in public. Like Dave Grohl's been roasted lately on social media because Dave Grohl, if you show up with 10 Nirvana albums, Dave will sign one. That's it. One. And for the most part, he won't sign anything unless it's for charity.
Right.
Because all these guys are showing up with a stack of stuff. And the game is they get the star to stand still and sign them. And in trade, a paparazzi gives them $100 because now the paparazzi can take all these photos because they're standing still. And then the guy with the signatures can then sell them on eBay. So I don't blame artists. Right. When I met Al Jorgensen, I didn't ask for an autograph of anything. 20 years ago, I would have asked for an autograph on my arm or something. Like, I got to have this signature. But the world has changed. Now it's a much more photo operative world. I posted the photo of, Al and I once on social media, but it's still something cool. Like if I met a really hardcore Ministry fan, I'd be like, "Hey, check it out. Look who I met." Yeah, no, I hung out with him for like 20 minutes. He's super cool. He's awesome. We talked about hockey and this and that. It's, when you've spent the hours that Howie and Eric and I and Mikey and John and everyone else has spent fawning and poring over a product, when you get to meet that creator
Sometimes
it's a big deal.
Sometimes,
You
yeah.
know?
It is.
But you're
Other
right.
times
though.
it's not.
You're right about something you said 20 minutes or so ago. New York is different. I see
They
stars
don't
all the
care.
time.
Yeah,
Nobody,
they don't care.
They don't bother them at all.
I really think that's why they all moved there, Howie. Like literally,
Yeah.
I saw a few people I recognized when I was there, but not enough to be running up to them for anything. But I
Right.
also kind of paid attention to them. We were on Fifth Ave over by 47th.
But
I watched them walk in front of me. No one got near them.
Right. But I noticed what you did that week you were in New York. You were showing, pictures of buildings and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Like it meant a lot to me to go see the physical graffiti buildings. I had to walk 3 miles, which isn't far.
Yeah.
But I walked 3 miles down, 3 miles back, so I could stand in front of 2 old apartment buildings because they're the cover of an album I got in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Like that meant something. It genuinely did. When I went over to King Street to see Paradise Garage, which is a veterinarian office, Cafe Wa. I stood in front of Cafe Wa and I'm like, my God, everyone has been through here. Now, the next time I get to the city, it'll be Studio 54, which is a clothing store.
Yeah.
I'll go to Veritas, whatever, John Veritas or Veritas, which is now the old CBGB's. I got to go see the Bottom Line. I've got to go see what's become of, I think a mall is where Area and Limelight are.
Yeah, the Bottom Line is gone.
Right. But it's that sense of, when I got married, my wife said, they told my wife we can't have a runner in the church. And I got married in the oldest Catholic mission in California. It opened in 1779, which out here is thousands of years.
Right.
And I remember looking at Michelle going, you have a train. You're going to walk down dirty cobblestone bricks down the aisle. Your dress is going to get all dirty. And she just looked at me and said, how many brides have done this before me? Marrying the right woman.
Yeah.
She got it. She got it. She understood the dirt on her dress represented how many people. And that's the thing about New York and
I
other
think
places.
she's just the voice of reason in your family.
Well, no, there's absolutely that.
I've met Michelle. I know Michelle.
No one's going to argue
she
that.
She is the voice of reason. Yeah.
But I think that the element of New York that becomes, standing at the Arch in Washington Park or Washington Square. I mean, like, you've seen it a billion times.
Washington something.
But I think for the people of fame and fortune, just go to New York. No one cares. Yeah. They're too busy. They're not going to stop and talk to you. They're too busy getting somewhere.
The only people that stop people in New York are from the suburbs. Yeah. Tourists are, yeah. If you're a New Yorker or you're a guy like us, we don't.
I can tell you.
By the way, I've been called out about 9 times for calling it the city, saying when I was in the city, and
it sounds like Oklahoma City.
What are you? No, if you're in one of the 5 boroughs of New York City, is made up of 5 boroughs: Staten Island, Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan. But if you are in New York City, those 5 boroughs at any given moment, or any place, and say, yeah, no, I got to go to the city tomorrow, everyone knows you mean Manhattan.
Right, they do.
That's New York. New York is Manhattan, even though it is Brooklyn.
I always kind of thought of that. You know
what I mean?
Yeah, Manhattan's like its own
I've gotten called out on, like, why are you calling it the city? I'm like, well, that's what it's called. Like, that's the city. Like, I don't think there's another city on the planet Earth that deserves the respect that.
That's what Okies call Oklahoma City. I just think we're going to go to the city, and they're not going to tell.
It's funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
When you go to Central Park, there's a huge sign about how Oklahoma City and New York City have 0 in common. Actually, the only thing about New York City and Oklahoma City is that Garth Brooks brought in. How many people live in Oklahoma City?
I don't know. Too many.
Well, 3. Three.
Three cows. I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Three people, right?
I was going to say, because in New York City, Garth Brooks brought into Central Park for his concert.
Yeah.
They estimate a little over 1.5 million people.
Yeah. That fool's not from Oklahoma City. He's from Stillwater.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Sort of same thing.
No, it's not.
Kind of, sort of.
It's like LA and Temecula. The same thing. It's like,
ladies and gentlemen, we're striking a nerve here with our world traveler, Brian S. Red.
I used to live there.
Formerly of San Dimas, formerly of Oklahoma City.
No, I never lived in Oklahoma City.
Where were you?
I was in a place called Ponca City, in the middle of nowhere. Like if you can.
And how old were you at the time, Brian?
Oh, geez. I left there and came here. 8 to 12.
8 to 12. Okay.
But I went back quite a bit.
With the pride you take as an 8-year-old.
I have no pride in living in Oklahoma. I just used to live there. And I know about it because I had to keep going back because my brother and my sister stayed there for a long time.
Court appearances. That's a better way to say it, is say my brother and sister still live there. But we understand court appearances. These things do happen.
Yeah. No, they are all gone.
Do they really? So in Oklahoma, if they say they're going to this, well, that would make sense. Any big state, I guess. I'm going to this.
Well, they would, if they were going to Tulsa, they'd say we're going to Tulsa. If they were going, we're going to the city. Oh, okay, you're going to Oklahoma City.
But see, the funny part about
we never went to either one, so.
No, but if you go to New York City, no one calls it, it's weird. It's like you're in New York City.
Well, I guess that makes sense because you're in the state of New York. And, well, okay, Oklahoma
like
City,
the city of
same
New York
thing.
Like
what are you going to say? I'm going to Oklahoma? No, but yeah.
But if I say New York, even Howie, who has lived there, is nearby, grew up there. If I say, hey, New York, everybody, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, immediately goes to Manhattan. They don't go to Manhattan. Oh, you're going to Staten Island, huh?
Yeah.
Right. It's
so I think it's a weird thing.
I've been to all the boroughs, and I'm going to tell you what they are is like just suburbs, really, especially Staten Island. Nothing famous happens there. They're just very expensive houses.
What's his face lives there? Pete Davidson.
They used to commute to work in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's what the ferry does. It goes to Manhattan.
It's free.
I don't even think it goes anywhere else, does it? Does it go to Brooklyn?
It's the Staten Island ferry. It goes back and forth between
Manhattan
and Manhattan, and it's free. Don't cost nothing.
They have a train for Manhattan, but it's straight and it's like 5 miles long, and it'll get you from one end of Staten Island to the other, and that's it. Then it backs up and goes the other way all day long.
Well, you can take a bus from JFK to like Battery Park area, the lower side of Manhattan, and it's like an hour. Or you can get the Long Island Railroad in Jamaica, Queens, and you're about 9 minutes from Penn Station.
So I want to go back to the music show here just for a minute.
What? Ooh, cool. We're not talking trains and buses.
New York geography show.
Why did I not get this? Where's my notes? How come no one sends me?
I was
my
curious.
Notes say we're talking about transportation, Brian.
Jay, I was curious about something. I'm just curious. I mentioned something to you the other night. I made a suggestion. Have you thought about it?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
For this month, we're still.
No, not for this month, but for.
Oh, okay. No, we're still Persona. Yeah, down the road. No, I
think I'm onto something with that.
I do think you're onto it, but I like my idea too, and I think there's a way to incorporate them. I think you've got to now. We might as well give the audience what's going on. The last 2 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was diagnosed in February of 2021. And in September, we got the green light that the radiation and the surgery had taken care of things. And at that time, she didn't have any cancer. So I knew October was coming up, breast cancer month. She had breast cancer. I said, I should do something. I know, I'll donate my services as a DJ to a charity. That's good. No, that's not really my personality. And I had an idea in the shower on a Monday, and I called Pulse and I said, I got an idea. Let me run it past you. And the idea was, do you think I could DJ for 24 straight hours to raise money for breast cancer. He's like, that's an awesome idea. I'll support it. I'll go online. I'll help you out. We'll mod. We'll get people. And it did very, very well. And I did it mid-October. I think I did it October 14th and 15th, 2021. Next year, I did it October 6th and 7th or 4th and 5th or something. And it was a bust. People were still very supportive. People still came out. But then it was half of what I did the year before. So this year rolls around, 2023, and people say, hey, are you going to do anything? And I said, no. Why not? Because it takes a lot out of you to be a DJing because it gets stressful. But I also think that the magic of the first year was that people were rooting for me because it was like, it was there. It was like, this is happening now.
It was personal.
And it was personal, and it was like she had it, and then she did it a month ago, and as time went on, it changed. And Brian and I were talking the other night, and John Colley and I were talking. John's like, let's do 48 hours. I'll take 8. You take 8. John, bless his heart. He's a pit bull. He doesn't understand saying no. He doesn't understand you can't do this.
Right.
Yeah,
he's like, we'll figure it out. I'll just dig through the wall and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, John, just bring the beers. And my only thought was go to a restaurant or a club and start at 5 o'clock and get that establishment on board. And then when they close at 1 a.m., you stay there. You're visually posting it on Twitch or whatever. And then they open again and you get to watch this. Because I think people like that whole David Blaine magic crap in front of everyone. Like, I'm going to bury myself in the dirt. Where? Right here in the middle of the street. Like, oh, no way. People can come and look at me. And then Brian came in with his idea.
Yeah, I had an idea. Well, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, so your audience that you had is you no longer have that audience.
Right.
So you need a new audience.
Yep.
And you probably want an audience that, and the other thing I had said before I even suggested this was, how about not making it a breast cancer telethon kind of thing? How about making it an event? And then when they show up, oh yeah, by the way, we're taking donations for breast cancer.
Which is a great idea.
And, that way it's not about breast cancer. It's about something else. So you don't even have to do it during National Breast Cancer Month. You could do it, there are other times you could do it. And the idea that I came up with, I thought the ideal time would be Christmas break. And here was my idea. And I'm not suggesting it's something that I would ever want to do. I'm not suggesting this is something Jay would ever want to do. What I am suggesting is if he did it, he'd raise a lot of money for breast cancer. If he did it right and he advertised it in plenty of time, he would get a brand new audience.
Both times I did not add long.
You go 2 weeks
I admit
out.
That.
You go 2 weeks out and start talking about this.
Yeah.
Go 2 weeks out, Instagram, Twitter, whatever your join is. Start talking about this. I guarantee you will have a bigger audience than you've ever had.
Right.
And you'll raise more money than you ever had if you do this thing I'm going to suggest.
Yep.
And that is because the material's out there. I've looked. The material exists. You could totally do this. Do a Taylor Swift-a-thon. Do a Swift-a-thon.
Yeah. And just play Taylor Swift for 24 straight hours. And she's got enough stuff.
The remixes alone.
Yeah. And you're tapping into an audience that's going to jump fervently at it. And
you're talking to teenage girls. A lot of those are teenage girls. Maybe their mom had breast cancer. Maybe their grandma had breast cancer. Their aunt had breast cancer. They got disposable income.
You know what? And I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna one up your idea.
Please do.
Because I thought of this after we spoke, and I started to tell Brian that
it's a collective.
Now, I'll tell you that if the cards go the way they should, the event now moves from December to January and you want to talk about grasping a new audience? If Kansas City goes to the Super Bowl which if they're still together, that's Taylor's
A lot of
boyfriend.
ifs there, right?
But if they do, that's the iron you strike.
Well, yeah.
Then you do it with upcoming to the Super Bowl week, that Friday till Saturday night or something, or Saturday into Sunday morning, exactly when the pre-show starts, you end your Taylor Swift-a-thon.
I say that's a great idea. But I also will say this. I will say you do everything during winter break like I suggested you do.
Because the kids
and then if this thing that's totally not going to happen happens,
right,
then you do it again.
Yeah. Or you just,
and everybody already knows about it. Hey, we're doing it again.
If you want to sub my channel or throw a couple bucks my own a tip, I'm going to donate all that to this.
Right.
And then if you really want to play that ace in the hole, you find out whatever her charity is and you say, I'm going to donate it to her charity, and you tag her on everything. And she seems like the type that would go, hey, there's this like 95-year-old DJ in Temecula, California doing this thing. This is amazing. I mean, he's not going to die, I hope, because he's staying up all night. You know what? I'm going to match whatever he makes. She seems like the type that would do that. I will give her this.
You got to get it out there.
The fact that she tipped out $50 million to her road crew.
Right. No, she's a generous person.
She is a class act.
The reason I said
music or not, she's a class.
No. The reason I suggested this is because
your idea is solid gold.
Right, but
and everything about it, even the planning phase of like do it during Christmas break. Why? Because the kids are out of school.
Right.
That's her audience. It's
the reason I even thought of this was because, two things. We were talking about, trying to add another night at Safe House, and somebody just half joking, half not mentioned have Taylor Swift night. And I'm like, oh, come on. And they're like, no, but they would come, and they would.
Yeah, they would come.
And the other thing is, at the club, when people come up, and even at mobiles, but you do a mobile once, and I do mobile once in a while. I'm at the club all the time. So I'm paying really close attention to what's happening at the club.
Right.
But it also happens at mobiles. When people ask for Taylor Swift, they don't ask for specific songs.
No, they just
want to hear Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And if you say what song, they'll say
anything.
It doesn't matter. They're all good. Just play something.
Yeah. No, 100%. My wedding 2 weeks ago, I played like 5 Taylor Swift songs, and it was all.
They don't care what you play.
There were no kids.
Play anything.
Yeah. And by the way, from that wedding, I do have to give advice to any of the guys out there. Depending on how you choose to live your life, there's no wrongs, there's no rights.
Okay.
But my advice is there is a thin line in the sand that I've learned. Example, you can either be A or B. A, hey dude, get a chance, man. Rock some Taylor Swift in this place. I think it'll blow up. Cool, great idea, bro. Appreciate it. Or B, I'm a Swiftie, and if I don't hear some Taylor Swift soon, I'm going to explode. That's the A and B I'm giving you. I'm just saying. It's nothing wrong or right either way. Yeah. But yeah, that's literally what I got from 2 guys that came running up to me. They did have boas on, which there's nothing wrong with a man wearing a boa. I've never worn a boa actually. No.
Well, we wouldn't have a theme night at Safe House for under 21. I mean,
that's the funny part about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, the wedding I did, they were all adults. And my wedding last week, that was all like T-Pain and Ludacris and Jaquan and stuff. She said, by the way, you want to throw some Taylor Swift out? We're down.
Yeah.
And they were 29 to 35 was the core.
That happened to me this.
Taylor is kind of.
That happened to me this summer.
Yeah, she's circumvented young.
They came up and they were. She had to be 30 years old, and I said, "Oh, can I help you?" Yeah, can you play some Taylor Swift? I said, "What do you want to hear?" She said, "Anything."
Yeah, that's the attitude.
The
only problem with Taylor Swift that I'm finding.
Be careful. Be careful.
No, I can say this with a straight face, and I don't think anybody would disagree with me. It's a bit. it's, how can I say this? Now that you got me paranoid about how I'm going to say this.
I'm just saying, Brian.
It wasn't a big deal. What I was going to
throw away all the work you've done.
I can do a set at a wedding, for instance. Right. And I'm thinking about the last wedding I did, where I'm playing young, old, music, and everyone's kind of having fun. Yeah. As soon as I drop Taylor Swift, I've got one audience out there and everyone else leaves. Well, and they're strong. But
they are strong.
It's tough to get my other audience back out. It took me the better part of an hour to do it last time I
will tell you the one track that completely breaks the mold with Taylor Swift. And I have played this song with Outkast, with Happy by Pharrell.
Well, yeah, Shake It Off, the go-to from 2009. Yeah, but if you do anything else.
With Blink 182. Oh,
you could even do Trouble. I mean,
you can, but Shake It Off will mix at 80 BPM into about 25 different genres. You at least get that taste of Taylor, and then you go into Blink and they lose their ever-loving minds, and you go, ta-da, I'm an artist.
Mm.
I agree with you. If you're doing Ghost, all the other tracks, it's like,
I'm talking about the variety.
Oh, you're in no man's land.
Family hour thing.
Where am I going to go from this? Like,
you almost have to do Shake It Off, and that's what I was doing.
Well, yeah, you really do.
But now that it's like stupid big and ridiculous and in everybody's face, it's like you got to you get to play some Taylor Swift and you play Shake It Off, and then they play another Taylor Swift song when you get it. And then it keeps going and going and going, and it never ends. It's like. It's like when you give your dog something off your plate. Now your dog's going to mess with you every time you have dinner.
Yeah.
It's going to keep coming back every time you get food. I got a cat that does this too.
Yeah. No, we know. Yeah. We watched it pre-show. When I did I did the bat mitzvah in September, and I think the song is 22. And somebody came up and said, "Can you play 22?" And I didn't. I'll say 22 is like 108 BPM. And I'm playing it, and the girls are all jumping up and down singing it. And I look down at my list, and I notice I've got 126 BPM remix of this other song that's also 108 that I was going to play, like Boyfriend or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go on a limb. And they still loved it, even though it was complete redo, remix, whatever.
Yeah, you can.
But, never going to get back together. You're going to play that at a wedding? Like they just got married. Like that, a lot of Taylor's material. And by the way, those Taylor Swift fans in our audience, please give us ideas in the comments. We'd love to hear songs that don't talk about how much she hates Harry Styles.
Breakups. Yeah. They're all about breakups.
Right. Yeah.
They're all about breakups.
It's a big topic with Taylor.
Yeah.
But I like Taylor in that she did a whole thing she's done work with him, Def Leppard. She had Mick Jagger come out, and they did Satisfaction recently. Like, she's a 30-year-old woman who's known for her career starting at like 17. Like, she is that power trip. She's that, like, they're saying that the Heiress movie that's playing out here in LA at the Grove and everywhere else, they're saying that this could very well be the highest grossing movie of the year. Like, Hollywood's got to be flipping out right now going, whoa. We put like $100 billion into this film and it's supposed to win an Oscar. Well, guess what? Taylor rolls up and goes, here's footage from my tour.
I mean, that's a cat.
Like, she should do 100 million on the first weekend.
Sure.
100 million? Like,
well, yeah.
Hey, she gave her tour people $50 million, truck drivers, gaffers.
You are not convinced that Taylor Swift is big. Now you are. After today's dissertation here.
I'm telling the dissertation is about the fact that and her dad handed out the checks. So either her parents are in her ear going, you know what the right thing to do is. And even if it's not her idea,
that never happened
with it. Guess what? She's the GOAT on this because she's at least doing it right. She's not screwing anyone over. Yeah, she can't hold a relationship. Hopefully Kelsey goes to the Super Bowl and she's there because then it's like, boom, we're all playing Taylor Swift all weekend.
So the moral of the story is you got to plan your Swiftathon for like I don't know, December
break,
28th or something stupid like that.
Starts when the movie goes national.
If you want to make a lot of money, do it,
DJ, aren't you?
Do a Swiftathon starting at like noon on New Year's Eve and ended at noon on New Year's Day, and you can take advantage of all the sleepovers.
My God!
There you go.
Hey, parents, you want to go to a party tonight? I'll keep your kids occupied. I'm playing all Taylor Swift all the time.
I'm just saying.
It would work.
Her top two charities are Boys and Girls Club of America and the Cancer Research Institute.
That's the one I gave my money to. No, Cancer Research Institute is like, and side note, anyone out there wants to do anything like this for charity, there's a website. You can go check out any charity and it will tell you how much money that they receive goes to the charity versus the running. And I want to give you a spoiler alert, and I want to give you a warning. You might find out that the charity that you've supported this whole time is investing more money into the CEO's salary than it is the actual charity. Because it is a real eye-opener.
Commercials.
Yeah, it is a big eye-opener. When you see, it says $1 comes in, 61 cents goes to the cause. 22 cents goes to advertising. 14 cents goes to overhead. The remainder goes to salary. And we're talking billions, not, 1,000.
Yeah.
But there's actual sites that will validate any charity that you ever want to invest in, from, the biggest to the smallest. They go through and they look at because all their books, 501c books, are public. And they have to put every dollar donated goes here. So
we are time, and I need another slice of pizza, so we're going to close the show for the night. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Tuesday Night Music Show. We did talk about music a little bit.
A lot.
There's some transportation stuff,
the whole
too.
Show.
No, we talked about the Staten Island Ferry and the train that goes back and
3
forth.
We're talking about New York.
New York for living in Oklahoma for a while.
We got Max's Kansas City sound guy here. What the hell? We've got actual stars on this show. I don't think people realize the fact that he can make it through the day without signing autographs, to me, is still a miracle. Put it this way. How many people do you know on any podcast or show on YouTube that had to lie to the general public to protect the image and reputation of Lou Reed? Well, guess what?
Good night, everybody.